Imagine for just a second a shadow. But we're not talking about a normal shadow here. We're talking about one stretching across 60 years of history. It's this lingering, almost invisible weight hanging over one of Europe's most historic and celebrated football clubs. So today's explainer takes us away from the bright stadium lights and pulls us straight into a hushed, cinematic mystery. It's a dark sports legend that literally still haunts the city of Lisbon to this very day. Okay, let's dive into this. Because, well, this isn't your everyday story about poor tactics or a bad bounce on the pitch. This is essentially a true crime sports investigation. And we really have to ask ourselves if forces beyond our understanding are actually at play here. We're looking at a club that hit the absolute pinnacle of success, only to be seemingly struck down by one singular chilling moment in time. So, are we looking at mere coincidence or a genuine supernatural phenomenon?
Section 1. Glory and Betrayal.
You know, to really understand the darkness, we first have to travel back to the light. The year is 1962. At this moment in time, Benfica wasn't just a good team. They were the absolute most feared team in all of European football. Guided by their brilliant Hungarian coach, Bela Guttmann, these Portuguese giants had achieved something genuinely extraordinary. They won the European Cup in 1961 and looked completely unstoppable marching into 1962. And they didn't just win, they dominated. 5. That's how many goals they scored to defeat the mighty Real Madrid 5-3 in what is still remembered as one of the greatest finals ever played. They defended their European Cup title, they conquered Europe, and under Guttmann's leadership, it felt like a dynasty was being born that would rule the sport for decades. And this brilliantly illustrates the real turning point of our whole story. Guttmann achieved the monumental 2 consecutive European Cups, unprecedented success. So, naturally, confident in his worth, he approached the Benfica board and asked for a well-deserved salary increase. But the board's reaction? It was completely staggering. They flatly refused. No negotiation, just no. It was an incredible display of boardroom hubris. They completely rejected and insulted the very architect of their golden era.
Section 2. The 100-Year Curse.
Feeling deeply unappreciated and frankly insulted by the directors he had just brought so much glory to, Bela Guttmann immediately resigned. The tension in those halls must have been absolutely suffocating. But it wasn't just the fact that he walked away, it was what he left behind, the chilling catalyst of this entire tragedy. He reportedly declared, "Not in 100 years from now will Benfica ever become European champions." Just pause for a second and let the gravity of those legendary words sink in. Now, at the time, nobody took this prediction seriously. How could they? Benfica had one of the strongest squads in the world. Surely, they thought, the trophies would just keep coming. But what happened next was truly terrifying.
Section 3. The Trail of Evidence.
The fallout wasn't some sudden collapse. No, it was a slow, agonizing sequence of failures that built this heavy, dark legend over the decades. A relentless cycle of hope, followed by devastating despair. Let me guide you through this suffocating timeline. Just 1 year after Guttmann left, Benfica reached the 1963 European Cup final, defeated. 2 years later, they arrived at the 1965 final, defeated. 1968, defeated. Decades pass, a whole new generation takes the pitch in 1988, defeated. 1990, defeated. Then, stretching right into the modern UEFA Europa League era in 2014, defeated. So the crucial point is, we are talking about 8 European finals across the European Cup and the Europa League following Guttmann's departure. 8 heartbreaking defeats. Every single time they came close, they fell at the exact final hurdle. And with every single failure, the weight of this legend just grew stronger. It stopped being a boardroom joke and started feeling like an absolute inevitability. Section 4. A legend's desperate prayer. As the years turned into decades, the psychological toll on the club was immense. So the build-up to the 1990 European Cup final against AC Milan in Vienna felt entirely different. It wasn't just about football anymore. It was about breaking a supernatural chain. And this is where the story becomes almost mythical. Benfica's greatest player ever, the legendary Eusebio, desperately wanted to end this curse. Before the match in Vienna, he actually traveled to Bela Guttmann's grave. Standing quietly beside the tombstone, Eusebio reportedly prayed. He asked his former coach for forgiveness. It was a silent plea, hoping that whatever anger still lingered out there in the ether would finally disappear and allow his beloved club to lift the trophy once again. Fans around the world truly believed that if anyone, if a single soul on earth could break this curse, it was Eusebio. But that desperate hope collided with a tragic reality. Despite the emotional plea, after 90 grueling minutes on the pitch, Benfica lost the final 1-0 to AC Milan. The curse, it seemed, lived on, completely unaffected by the tears of a legend.
Section 5. Myth or reality?
Today, the shadow still looms. Every new generation of Benfica supporters watches their club fight brilliantly, only to leave empty-handed on the biggest European stages. Whenever Benfica reaches a major knockout match, the whispers always return. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is, objectively, there is no scientific evidence for curses, right? Historians rightly point out there's no definitive proof Bela Guttmann ever even spoke those exact words on his way out the door. It's a legend born of football folklore. But on the other hand, the undeniable, agonizing reality is 0 major European trophies since 1962. The club has been totally starved of ultimate glory ever since that boardroom doors slammed shut on their greatest coach. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this. Are we looking at 60 years of phenomenally bad luck, poorly timed tactics, and intense psychological pressure? Or is it possible that words spoken in anger truly can echo through time, creating football's greatest supernatural mystery? Coincidence or a 100-year curse? The clock is ticking, and the whole world is watching to see if Benfica will ever step back into the light.